from Sarasota, Florida. Let me get this pulled up on my tablet real fast so I can keep an eye on chat. It doesn't show up on my screen with the app I use. So give me 2 seconds to do that, and we will start our live. Alright, let's see. There we go. Oh, let's turn that down. So I did work a little bit today. I worked at the doctor's office for a few hours. I made a little bit of money. I mean, it was only a couple hours, but it's, a little bit of money. It helps, it's an extra day's worth of food. So I'm pretty excited about that. Every day is another day. I did get something on Nextdoor today. Somebody apparently has a painting project their neighbor needs done. So hopefully that person will reach out to me. And it's a whole exterior, it sounds like. So that will be good. We'll see. I can't count my chickens before they hatch, but hopefully that goes through. Things are for the future aren't as promising right now as I want them to be, but I just got to keep posting, and hopefully I'll get more work. And it's miserably hot today. It was 86, but the humidity is just so high, so it gets super hot in this van. But at least I got a couple hours worth of work today. I was cleaning out they have a garage area, and I had to clean up above, and found out there's a leak in there, so we've got to go fix that soon. We placed a little bit more ceiling tiles in there. I already finished all the painting in the building that I had to fix from the last person that was there. So luckily I was able to get all that done, but that job's running, pretty, almost to where we're completed on that, so I have to really hope and pray more work comes in soon. My sugars haven't been the greatest still. I'm hopefully going to meet that person either today or tomorrow about the insulin, so I can, I think, like I said, my insulin's gone bad, so I'm still taking it, just, hoping that it helps in any way possible, but we'll see. I don't know if it's completely bad or if it's just, I don't know. But I was able to. I got a sandwich from Wawa's today for dinner, so I was able to eat something warm for dinner, which was nice. I have enough money to last me probably another day or two. So as long as I can find something quick, I'll be all right. But filling up the tank really hurt my pockets. It's so expensive for fuel nowadays, and luckily it's gone down a little bit in the last couple of days, and hopefully that trend will continue, because I know everybody knows, that, fuel's been hurting a lot of people lately. It's funny because like if I'm in front of, people are in front of me or whatever, and they're buying fuel, like a lot of people are just buying like $10 or $15 in fuel because they just can't afford it, and then I got to go fill up my tank yesterday, and that, that was over $100, so that was a little bit painful, but I know I have to keep fuel in the van so I can continue to stay working. I've got to start eating more than once a day, though. I'm still losing weight like crazy, and I don't know how much more I can drop. I've lost probably about 15 pounds just in the last like 6 months probably, and it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're already a skinny guy, I don't want to see my rib cage anyway. That's my rib cage, my collarbone, or whatever it's called. I need to definitely gain more weight, and it's just between the sweating constantly. All day, every day, you're just in a mess of sweat, and only eating once a day. It's really put a damper on my body. It's I'm definitely sweating out the calories that I don't have, which isn't helping the diabetes either. So it's just like, it is what it is, I guess. I try to make my best to stay as healthy as possible. I'm not sure when I've got to find a way to get a shower, though. That's my biggest priority right now, is getting clean and doing my laundry. If I can just get a real good full day's worth of work, I'll be able to afford that. But when I'm only working enough to make a day's meal and some fuel, and there's not much I can do about it. And lately it hasn't been a whole lot of work. I know it'll pick back up. It's just, I don't know. A lot of people have trust issues. That they see a homeless guy, they're not gonna, want to let them in their home. But which is funny though, because like I work at the work I was doing today is in a research lab and a medical facility with millions of dollars worth of equipment there, and I would never in a million years do anything wrong to disrespect my customers. And they trust me there. They leave for the day, and I do my work or however many hours, and then they come back and pay me. I'm a very, very reputable person, and like I said, I used to own my own company for 8 years prior to being homeless. And anybody who doesn't know, I became homeless about a year and a half ago. I got really sick, lost my company due to medical issues. because they repoed my truck. Once they repoed the truck, I couldn't make it to the job sites anymore. I couldn't do the hauling, couldn't do all that stuff, lost everything. And it's just been really, really hard ever since then. And I'm just trying to find whichever way to get out of this. And believe it or not, it was actually a lot lower than this before. And I've come up quite a bit recently. At least I have you know, some kind of work coming in, and I can sustain at least a meal a day and fuel in the van and pay my bills. I got to figure out insurance again soon, but I'll get there when I get there, you know. Luckily, I still kept my insurance to Maine, because the difference between Maine and Florida insurance is crazy. So I want to keep this car registered in Maine as long as possible, because like the insurance difference is I pay $72 a month for this van, and if I were to switch it, I'd be paying almost double that here. So it's stupid because I've never had a claim. I've never even had a speeding ticket. Like and I've had insurance my whole life. It's like, where all this money that I've been giving these insurance companies and never used it, you think they'd give you some of it back, or make your prices a little lower, because it's like, you know, you're paying in case, you know, I could have bought a whole other nice vehicle already by now by the amount I paid in insurance, you know, over the last 20 something years. This parking lot is always really loud. Makes it very difficult to sleep in, but it's a safe place to park for right now, and they haven't got on me, so God bless with Wawa's. I appreciate them, you know. I'm sure they know I stay in my van. They don't bug me, they don't say nothing. But I also, you know, I leave during the day. I try not to make sure I don't leave a mess. You know, never leave trash outside, and I, you know, I shop there, so I mean, it helps them out, I guess, in a way too, because, you know, that's where I get my coffee or my meal or whatever I can afford that day. Is right here, so that makes it a little more convenient. That leaves a little less fuel, but I still got to move around here and there. I can't sit here all day. I've got to leave during the day. I just come around here around evening time. But it is what it is, you know. So tomorrow, it's looking pretty slow. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, and I have to go replace a few tiles real fast, which is going to take me like another hour. But besides that, I'm doing absolutely nothing, so it's kind of stressful. I need to have more work lined up, so I'm hoping and praying things will start looking up, because, you know, like I said, anybody who doesn't know, my goal is to save for a boat. I've lived on a boat most of my life, and, you know, that's what, you know, doing that is a lot cheaper than renting an apartment here, because you're going to spend like $1,500 a month. Here, when you can, you know, plus you get to come up with first, last, and security. And for $5,000, you can get a decent size, you know, 30-foot sailboat and live on your sailboat, and, you know, it costs you $5,000, and you're just, you know, you don't have to pay anything else after. You know, you have solar power, you have heat, you have cool air, you have everything, you know, in a boat, as long as it's maintained well, and I know how to maintain it. So that's what I plan on doing. That's what I did most of my life anyways. Even when I had money, I just loved living out there on the water, and it's so much cheaper. It makes it affordable for, you know, living in Florida. Hurricane season is, you know, of course, something to be careful about, but I've dealt with that too. I know where to go and what to do and how to prep the boat out, and, you know, the boat's actually safer on water than it is land, as long as you're on a good mooring and you take care of all your ground tackle and make sure everything's good, your lines, whatnot. You're pretty safe out there. You know, I wouldn't stay out there, of course. I'd get a hotel for the night if we had a hurricane, but besides that, you know, that's my plans and what I'm working on. And once I can eventually, hopefully, start saving eventually, it's been, no, I don't have food stamps yet. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen for a second. Like I said, I've applied for them. Florida is a little different than everywhere else. Like when we were in New Mexico and I was able to get them, it's a Democratic state. And I don't like to talk about politics on here very much, but I will say that, you know, Democrat states give out a lot more crap than Republican states. There's a lot of requirements here to try to get them if you have them in Florida, and they don't like to give them out in the first place, especially to somebody who's able-bodied. And I do have type 1 diabetes and I'm homeless, but that's not considered a disability. So it's really hard for me to get them without children or anything else like that. So, I mean, I haven't tried yet, but luckily, like I said, I've been at least eating, you know, enough, working enough to feed myself at least once a day. So that is, you know, a big step up. So I'm happy with that for right now. And like I said, you know, Florida is a very difficult place to get them. That's just, they don't like to, you know, hand out stuff here like some other states do. And even even like insurance and everything, it's very limited resources in Florida. But it is what it is, you know. At least, you know, right now I've been working enough to keep myself sustained. I'm not getting ahead anywhere. I'm not able to save anything, and I'm still not being, you know, 100% healthy like I need to be. But I am definitely, you know, doing better than I was. And some food is definitely better than no food. So I'm pretty happy about that. And, you know, I even was able to afford a coffee today, again, so I'm really proud about that. I love coffee. I'm addicted to coffee. If I could drink coffee all day, I absolutely would. Can't afford it, but if I could, that's what I would do. Let's see, it's supposed to be in the 80s all week. It's going to be very hot and muggy. It gets so bad. I tried to lay down after, you know, I did the little bit of work I did today. Just because it was so boring and there's nothing to do and it's so hot and miserable, but you just can't. It's especially back there because there's, you know, right here I have the two windows that can go down. One goes down halfway, the other one goes down fully. And you get a little bit of a breeze, not much of a breeze today, but you get a little bit. Back there, there's absolutely nothing, and it's an oven back there, so that didn't happen. So I'm pretty exhausted today, and it's a lot of it's my sugars being high, and two, the heat is just, I mean, this isn't oil on my skin. I'm just constantly sweaty and nasty, and I mean, I'm probably pretty gross and dirty too. I haven't showered in a while. It's pretty disgusting, but I mean, it is what it is. But if you guys are just tuning in too, please also like, share, and subscribe. It helps me get this out. It helps me get more people watching. We've done amazing in subscribers lately. I want to thank each and every one of you guys who are new. We went up from, I think it was 1,070 to, I think we're right over 1,014 in just this week alone. And most channels, even to get to the 1,000 subscriber marks, takes over a year, and we did it in under 6 months. So we did really well building this channel, and I want to continue, you know, working towards making that even better, and eventually, you know, coming up with better content and doing more stuff. Right now, there's not a whole lot going on just because I don't have the funds for anything. Once we get the boat, I would like to do, you know, more stuff from there, like the sunset videos and the nightly chats and stuff like that, where it's actually a little more entertaining to watch than just seeing my face or a funeral home or something boring. You know, we can actually have some scenery while we chat. Still, hopefully, we'll go out and do some stuff, but we just gotta, right now I'm in complete save mode. I'm not spending any penny that I don't have to. I was able, like I said, I got myself a coffee and a steak and cheese sandwich for dinner tonight. Man, people have loud vehicles around here. It was so loud all night this week here. Last night it was crazy. I almost videotaped it, but as kids, so I didn't. These kids were like picking on these older people in a Jeep last night over here, and it was like they got crazy. They were like throwing their drinks at because the Jeep had, you know, the walls that, you know, whatever, the top off or whatever you want to call it, and they were like throwing water at them and stuff like that. And these kids, like, man, if my kids ever did that crap, I swear to God, I don't know what the kids like nowadays. They've gone crazy. Like, I don't understand what our youth is up to right now, but it's like they have no law. They were telling them to call the cops on them and everything, and they didn't even care. It's like, you know, when I was a kid, I wouldn't have done that crap. But it gets interesting at night in this parking lot sometimes, to say the least. It makes it hard to sleep. But then again, I'm not worried right now. I haven't had a cop knock on my window at 2 o'clock in the morning telling me I got to move along, so, you know, I'm doing something right. I do got to check my sugar. I haven't checked it in a while. That's why we can see together how I'm doing today. But I don't know. It's just, you know, the constant being hot and miserable, not eating properly, has definitely made me feel quite sick a lot lately. I've been quite out of it. And well, one second, let me ow. I can't stand the poking the finger thing. It doesn't even hurt. I don't even know why I say ow, but it's just like a habit, I guess. Alright, let's see what my sugar is. We cannot even show you guys today. See what we're doing. Alright, and it's not too bad. 274. We can see it. It's actually, compared to how it's been, 274. It's anything more above 180. Not the greatest. But I'll take it above, you know, it's below 300. So below 300 is is my goal. I need to stay below 300, preferably below 180, but I don't know. 275 is not great, but it's, you know, it's better than it has been. So I just got to, continue to work on myself and figure that out. And I really, really cannot wait to get a boat. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to do a lot of nice videos from there. The content is going to be pretty great from the boat. We can do some sunset sails and stuff like that. I love sailing. I'm just going to get a small sailboat, something around 30 foot. Anything below 27 I can't stand up in. I'm 6'2". I'm a pretty tall guy. My last sailboat was a 40-footer. And I only paid $5,000 for that boat, so I can, usually we can get your, for that price range, you're going to get something that needs work, but it's not derelict. You can at least floats and moves around a little bit. It's going to need some stuff, but that's fine too. I'm good at that type of stuff, So that's my goal. Just trying to slowly get there. It's just one day I'll be able to start saving. Until then, it's just a tough road, But, it is what it is. I've got to, continue my hardest and try to figure life out. And it feels like it's so repetitive. Like, I know some of the things I say are, but like life in general is just the same thing over and over and over. And it's like, I need to find that break. And that's what I'm working towards. It's just trying to make ends meet. I don't want to, I don't want to be super rich. I don't want to be all this. I just want to be able to, have my boat and have a home and take a shower, and do some laundry, and cook a meal. Get a dog. That would be great. Not be alone all the time. Loneliness is such a hard thing out here. Between that and the heat, it gets quite stressful a lot. But anyways, like I said, I'm going to keep these kind of short right now because there's not a whole lot, and I don't like to be completely repetitive. So it's more of a little update right now. Once we get going and we get more people and when the chats open up, I'll stay longer. But when there's, when the chats are kind of dead, it's just, let's talk about so much. Before you just start saying the same thing over and over and over. So feel free to comment. I will definitely, comment back on all you guys' comments. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening and stay cool because it is hot. And make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe too. Also, if you want to support the channel, the links are in the description and scrolling below. It's not expected, but it is appreciated. Anyways, have a good night, everybody.